for a long while we both did the thing where if you want them to do something, you say, I'm going to close my eyes and let's see if magic happens, and it gets done. You make a game out of it, or actually, and I don't know how good this is as a principle, but it will certainly work for our children, is to say, whatever you do, don't do that. And they do it. So that's, a bit of reverse psychology there. So all of that kind of thing I learnt from Judith, whereas before that I didn't really have that natural instinct in me. Those sort of things don't work so well nowadays. So now we actually have to have a bit more, we certainly talk in the terms of obedience. We never just give them punishments, we always give them a warning, and sometimes more than one. And the punishments will be things like sitting on the bottom step of the stairs for a few minutes, or, if it's coming towards the end of the day, not giving them a song before bed, that kind of thing. So they're nothing really draconian. Having said that, though, a few weeks ago, Sam went through a bit of a phase where he was saying no to everything, and then when you were trying to, bring him round or ask him to do it or whatever, he'd just put his hands over his ears and say he wasn't listening, and that was looking pretty grim for a couple of weeks. And, I would tend to say, if you don't start doing it now, because he could still hear you even though he had his hands over his ears, then the punishment would be X. And what you'd find is that you'd actually have to deal out 3 or 4 punishments before he'd come round, and then there'd be really bad feeling because he'd be feeling really sore about having had those punishments, not being able to play with Lego for the rest of the day or whatever it might be. And I felt really bad because I doled them out, and I felt as a father that I should have, if I'd have adopted a different strategy, then we would have been able to nip it in the bud, everyone would feel good because we'd have, turned it round. And I'm sure that every mother and every father that is listening to this would know how awful you feel when you've given out a punishment. So, we discussed it and decided to, change tack completely. And, if it meant putting up with a bit of disobedience, because, we were trying to kind of crack down on the whole disobedience thing, and have them so that they were really very obedient, but it was too much too soon, I think. So, we would just walk away, or we would say, okay, do it in your own time, but we want you to do it, and then come and tell us and we'll be really pleased. So we would not escalate it at all. And Sam has responded to that so much, in as much as now, a few weeks on, he doesn't do that anymore. One of the things that Sam I think is going to remember, because he certainly repeats it, is that, if you're in a hole, stop digging. And that's what we were saying to him, look, Sam, you're already in trouble. Don't keep on digging, don't make it worse. Otherwise, we just have to give you punishments, and, we'll all feel bad at the end of it. And he's really taken that to heart now. And they both say it sometimes, actually. So we've changed our strategy completely. We step back, we let them do it in their own time, or we give them a little bit more slack than we want to, and they actually respond a lot better to it. And Sam doesn't dig himself into big holes.